Welcome back to Doodling with Purpose, the internet's only week-by-week free course on learning ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Now, I do recommend starting from the beginning, but for new students, welcome. We try to make every episode available as someone's first, but, hieroglyphics is a learning ladder, and jumping into the middle, you may miss some stuff. Because we're already on the H's. In fact, we're on the bilateral H's, meaning two sounds. So here we have the HA, and it is a sunset is what you're actually drawing here. So it's kind of like a hill, and those are the rays of the sun kind of, shining over the Nile. Picture yourself on a, boat in the Nile and pyramids and, all that cool stuff in Egypt. It's honestly one of the things I love the most about hieroglyphics because how Egyptian they are. This is an image that it comes right from Egyptian life, was the sun rising over the hills. All right, so yes, you can add extra lines there for extra detail work. In fact, almost every glyph that we've gone over, you can add extra details. But the hill with the sun coming up over it is pretty easy to draw. You're going to start with your straight line and then go backwards with the first curve. So you've essentially actually now made the loaf, which is the same glyph for T. So if you know how to make the T glyph, well, you're basically just going to take the loaf and now have two diagonal lines coming out from either side. That's 3 and 4. And then the top of the sunset, number 5. Oh, yeah, that's the next one. We had a whole other slide for that. I forgot I took a picture of that one. Sometimes I forget what I take pictures of when I come back and do the voiceover. So yeah, there you go, number 5. And then the lines for the detail work. So this is ha. And again, the H with the little happy under it, and then the A with the reverse comma, or you can just use the reverse comma in this case, will give you the ha, or writing it with the reverse, or what looks like sort of like a 3 is the other way the A sound can be written. And you should get very used to writing all of these sound complements, because this is when you're decoding hieroglyphs, you have to deal with very subtle differences, especially in the H's, because there's a lot of different H's. So ha is to arise, because the sun is rising over the cliff, so it's also the word for to arise. Here's an interesting word that uses this glyph, and it also uses a recent glyph we learned as a determinative. You see the stick there at the end with the 3 strokes under it, and you know it's a determinative because it has the strokes anytime. So this is the word for weapons. You have ha'a, and then another ah under it, the arm, and then the W. So ha'au would be how you would pronounce this, and you can see with the ha'a followed by the ah sound, you have a repetition of ah, and you know where what we're talking about next. That's the echo effect, where the sound of a single sound glyph is there to reflect the double sound glyph that you just read. Kind of drew a little curved echo there because of the positioning, but you should get used to reading words in blocks as well as lines, and we're going to start to do a lot more words written in block form, since that's how they appear on a lot of stela. And then, of course, the stick is the determinative, again, because you have strokes, which also makes it plural. One stroke would just make it one stick. All right, our next H is hua. This is a hand holding a whip, if you will, and it's actually, you've probably seen this image a lot in museums, right? Holding the cross and the sickle, like mummies or pharaohs. This is the whip that the Egyptians would use to, whip my ancestors who were building the pyramids. If you don't understand what that means, go check out the holiday of Passover. It's a lot of fun. All right, matzah aside, so here we have hua, and pretty easy one to do. We're going to start and draw a vertical line and then go up, go down on a diagonal to complete the sort of shoulder part of the arm. Then we'll come out and we'll draw the whip in the hand. Sometimes you can actually draw the hand itself. You'll see, again, like we did with the sunset, adding those extra details. You'll see a lot of glyphs in very rudimentary form like this, but also highly detailed. So if you see this and you see the actual hand drawn holding the whip, same glyph. It's just a more detailed version of that. And we'll cover all of that in a later lesson as well. But pretty easy after you've done the diagonal down, across, then back up, and then you've got your 3 whip tendrils, if you will, I guess. It's more like a cat of 9 tails, but here we have a cat of 3 tails, if you will, and that symbolizes holding on to that sacred object, if you will. It wasn't just a weapon or something to encourage slaves with. It was also considered one of the holy objects, which is why you see a lot of pharaohs in stela and in coffins holding that. All right, so here we have a word with this glyph in the middle. So first we have the h with the placentia, then we have the s, the bolt of cloth, both single sounds, so hus, and now we have the ha of the whip, followed by, shockingly, a determinative. How do we know it's a determinative? It's a person. Anytime there's a person. So this is an interesting word because it has graphical transposition. Because you've got a vertical, or I'm sorry, rather a horizontal glyph in the middle, and then a high with the bolt of cloth. So there, the cloth is placed in the middle, again, just to make it look pretty. All right, so, oh, and that was the word for to build. I don't think I said that. All right, here is one of the two fish that are of the in the main glyphs. I'll show you how to draw this one because it's a little bit tricky since you're kind of drawing an oval pointing down. Then you come up and do the fin. Then do the top detail, the top fin. Split it off for the bottom fin, second bottom fin, and then we're going to do the eye. So this one's a little tricky. It took me a while to really get this one, but once you figure it out, all the fish are drawn in the same way. So again, you've got H now with the dash and the A with the proper comma, like father. So here we have the fish followed by the vulture, R the mouth, T the loaf, and then a determinative of a woman. So you know that this is this word is somehow related to a woman. So here we have ha-ah, art, heart, well, heart. And you will notice that we have a single sound next to a double sound. Again, that reflection. So that's just your clue that you are looking at a double bilateral sound. So it cancels the extra vulture out. It can be written without the vulture in there if you have less room. But if the word wants to be expanded, you can add determinatives. You could add the A. You could add all sorts of fun things to it to make it as long as you need. We covered that a lesson or two ago. So the word ha'art means widow, meaning a woman who has lost her husband. And again, determinative of a woman at the end, drawn exactly like you would draw the pharaoh, only you give a little bit of the detail of the bosom and the hair. All right, so here we have an interesting word with a very interesting determinative. So we have the ha, the fish, ha, t. So writing all of that out, again, with all the sound complements, looks like this, followed by a determinative. Now right away we can tell we need to cancel out some of those extra sounds, much like we did with the last word. So the double ah sound in the middle, where you have a double next to a single, you can eliminate those. It's the same sound. I know I've repeated this a lot, but it's a core part of hieroglyphics, and hopefully repetition is helping everybody get all of this. That's why we're going all over all of the letters even a second time, and now adding in the sound complements. All right, so here we have the echo effect, as I call it, canceling out the sounds, and then that's followed by the T-I-T sound, which is the flint, and that makes it ha-ha-ti. Now the determinative at the end I want to draw your attention to, because you may be able to decode the meaning of this word if you can decode what that determinative is. So it's made up of a couple of elements. One, you hopefully recognize the glyph for sky, which is basically a straight line with kind of two vampire teeth pointing down on either side. So this represents the top of the world, the sky. And then the diagonal lines you'll recognize hopefully as the sign for water. So if you think about it, here you have the sky with three water signs coming down. Well, what do you think this is the word for? Pause it if you need to, but hopefully with the determinative, you figured out this is the word for thunderstorm or rainstorm. So the determinative can often help you find meaning if you don't know your vocabulary or you haven't learned a word. Always look to the determinative. It will really help. It's one of the things that makes hieroglyphics a lot easier. And I hope this series has made hieroglyphics a lot easier. Please do share it with others. All students are welcome. All comments I hope to address as soon as possible. Let me know if you have any other questions, and I'll see you back here next week for more doodling with purpose.